The medical bay was silent except for the steady hum of machines. White lights glowed cold against the walls. A young nurse named Alara stepped carefully into the room, her hands carrying a tray of bandages and cloth. She had seen injured soldiers before, but never anyone like this. On the table lay a man, covered in burns and strange dark marks across his body. His chest rose and fell slowly as if every breath was a battle. The sheets around him were stained, not only with blood but with something thicker, something that shimmered faintly under the light. Alara frowned. Human blood never glowed. She took a cloth, dipped it in warm water, and began to wipe his arm. The skin felt wrong, too warm, almost alive. As she pressed the cloth gently against the burned flesh, she thought she felt a small movement, like muscles twitching, like something inside the skin was shifting on its own. Her hand froze. No, she told herself. It was only her imagination. She tried again, wiping carefully across his shoulder. The same thing happened. The skin rippled under her touch like waves under water. Her heart began to beat faster. Alara whispered to herself, "It's just nerves." Only nerves, but nerves did not glow. And nerves did not push back against her hand. She pulled the cloth away. For a moment she thought she saw something under the skin, like a shape moving along his veins. It slithered and vanished before she could blink. Her body shivered with fear, but she did not run. She was a nurse. Her duty was to heal even when her hand shook. Taking a deep breath, she moved closer to his face. His jawline was sharp, but his lips were cracked. His skin was pale as if drained of life. She dipped the cloth again and wiped his forehead. Suddenly his eyes snapped open. Alara gasped and stepped back, dropping the cloth to the floor. The man's eyes were strange. Not the eyes of a soldier, not the eyes of any man she had ever seen. They glowed faintly like embers deep inside a fire. They locked onto her with such intensity that she could not breathe for a moment. Then his lips moved. A whisper escaped, broken and soft. "Shah, Gait, Tor!" The words made no sense to her. It was not English. It was not any language she knew. The sound was heavy, layered, almost like two voices speaking at once, one human, one something else. Her knees felt weak. She wanted to call the doctor, but her voice failed her. Instead, she forced herself to step closer again. "You're safe," she whispered, even though she wasn't sure if it was true. The man's hand twitched. Slowly, painfully, his fingers curled. Alara reached out instinctively, afraid he might hurt himself. But before she could touch him, his entire body jerked under the sheets. His chest arched upward and a low growl escaped his throat. The machines beside him beeped wildly. His pulse was racing faster than human limits. The marks on his skin seemed to spread, dark lines crawling across his chest like veins of shadow. Alara's breath caught in her throat. She stumbled backward, her eyes wide with terror. "Oh my God!" The stranger's body settled again, but the sheet still trembled as if something alive was moving underneath. His mouth opened once more. This time he spoke in broken human words. "Not safe. Run." Her heart pounded. She wanted to run, but her feet were frozen to the floor. She stared at the trembling sheets, too afraid to look away. The silence of the medical bay felt heavy, as if the walls themselves were holding their breath. Alara realized one thing with absolute certainty. Whatever lay before her on the table was not only a man, it was something else. Something human, and something more. The hum of the machines filled the room again, steady and cold. But beneath the sheets, something shifted once more, something that did not belong in any human body. And Alara knew this was only the beginning. The medical bay smelled of burned metal and medicine. Alara stood frozen beside the bed, staring at the man who should not have been alive. His glowing eyes had closed again, but she could still hear his broken warning echoing in her head. "Not safe. Run." She swallowed hard and forced herself to breathe. The machine slowly steadied, his heart rate falling back toward normal. His chest rose and fell again, calmer now. But the sheet still twitched from time to time as if his body was not at rest. Alara stepped back and pressed the call panel on the wall. Within minutes, the door hissed open and Dr. Valen walked in. He was an older man with sharp eyes, his white coat stained by years of long shifts. He looked at the patient once and his expression tightened. "You saw it, didn't you?" the doctor asked quietly. Alara blinked. "Saw what?" He gave her a look that told her he already knew the answer. The movement, the marks, the eyes. She nodded slowly, her hands trembling. He spoke too. Words I didn't know, and then he told me to run. Dr. Veylan sighed heavily and approached the bed. He lifted the sheet just enough to study the stranger's chest. The dark marks across the skin were no longer faint. They had spread, forming sharp lines like veins drawn by ink. The doctor lowered the sheet and rubbed his face. This is worse than I hoped, he muttered. Alara's voice shook. Who is he? The doctor turned toward her. That is what we don't know. His ship was found drifting near the edge of human space. Wrecked. No survivors. Except him. There was no identification. No records in our systems, nothing, she frowned. Then how did he get here? The patrol found him half dead in the wreckage. Brought him in. We thought he was just another soldier. Veylan paused, his eyes narrowing. But when I ran the first blood tests, it wasn't right. Half of it is human. The other half, he shook his head. I don't even recognize it. Alara felt her stomach twist. Not human? The doctor gave her a tired, almost defeated look. Not fully. The silence in the room grew heavy. Alara looked at the stranger's pale face. His lips moved slightly as if he was dreaming. She wondered what kind of nightmare lived inside his mind. She whispered almost to herself. Then why bring him here? Why not leave him? Veylan's eyes hardened. Because he's alive. And because whatever he is, he might be important. If he survives, he may hold answers. Alara shook her head. Or danger. The doctor didn't answer. He only leaned down, checking the man's vitals again. Then he handed Alara a datapad. Keep watch. Do not leave him alone. If anything changes, call me. She stared at him. You're leaving? I need to run more scans, he said simply. Then turned and left the room. The door hissed shut, and Alara was alone with the stranger once more. For a long time, she stood still, watching his chest rise and fall. Slowly, she walked closer again. She dipped a fresh cloth in water and touched his arm. This time, the skin rippled under her fingers so clearly that she almost dropped the cloth. Her heart thudded in her chest. The wound on his shoulder, raw and deep, began to close as she wiped it. The skin sealed together, leaving behind only a faint scar. Her mouth went dry. Humans did not heal like that. The man's hand shot upward and grabbed her wrist. His grip was iron, far stronger than his broken body should allow. Alara gasped, frozen. His eyes opened again, those glowing, unnatural eyes. He stared straight into hers. For a moment, he said nothing. Then, in a rough, uneven voice, he spoke words that chilled her to the bone. They are coming. Her lips parted, but no sound came out. His grip trembled as if he was fighting himself. His whole arm shook, muscles flexing in pain. Who? She whispered finally. Who is coming? He tried to speak again, but his throat closed. The glow in his eyes flickered like dying light. Then slowly, he released her wrist and collapsed back against the bed. The machines beeped wildly again. His chest heaved, but he did not open his eyes. Alara clutched her wrist where his hand had been. The warmth of his grip still burned her skin. She could not stop shaking. The silence in the room was broken suddenly by a sharp sound, a warning tone from the station's comm system. A flashing red light appeared above the door. Alert. Unidentified signals detected outside the station. All personnel report to readiness stations. Alara's eyes widened. She looked at the man on the bed, then at the red light. Unidentified signals. They are coming, she whispered. Her heart raced. She realized with a sinking dread that the stranger's warning had not been a dream. It was real, and whatever had destroyed his ship was now here. The red alarm light blinked in the medical bay, painting the white walls with pulses of warning. The voice of the station AI repeated again and again. Alert. Unknown fleet detected. Prepare for possible contact. Alara stood frozen beside the stranger's bed. Her heart hammered as the sound echoed through the room. She looked down at the man, the one who had warned her. His eyes were closed again, but his chest rose and fell with heavy breaths. They are coming. His words repeated in her mind. The door hissed open suddenly. Dr. Veylan rushed back in, his face pale. Behind him came two security officers with rifles ready. Doctor? Alara whispered, her voice trembling. He didn't answer her. He stared at the stranger on the table. He knew, Veylan muttered. Somehow he knew they were here. The security officer stepped forward, aiming his weapon. "Sir, if he's connected to them, we can't keep him alive. He could be a beacon, a spy." Ilara gasped. "No, he's injured. He saved me. He warned us." The officer frowned but did not lower his weapon. The doctor raised a hand. "Not yet. If he's important to them, killing him may make it worse. We need answers." The room fell silent except for the machines and the alarm in the distance. Then, slowly, the stranger's eyes opened once more. The glow inside them was brighter this time, like embers fanned into flame. He looked at the guards first, then at the doctor, and finally at Ilara. His lips moved, and his voice came out low and broken. "You must listen." One of the guards muttered, "God, it speaks." The stranger tried to sit up, but his body trembled violently. Ilara stepped forward instinctively. "Wait, you're too weak." But as she touched his shoulder, the glow from his eyes spread into the marks on his skin. The black lines across his chest lit faintly like channels of fire running through stone. Ilara gasped. The stranger's wounds closed further, his body repairing itself before her eyes. It was terrifying, but also strangely beautiful. The guard raised his rifle again. "That's not natural." The stranger's voice deepened, overlapping with a second tone that sounded alien and mechanical. "I was made, not born, forged in their fire." Ilara's heart clenched. She didn't understand everything, but she heard the pain in his voice. She leaned closer. "Who made you?" He turned his glowing eyes toward her. "The ones outside. They come for me. And for you." The comm system blared again. Unidentified ships moving closer. Docking clamps under pressure. Boarders expected. The guard cursed. "They're coming straight here." Ilara gripped the stranger's arm. "You warned us. Why? If they made you, why help us?" His face twisted, his human side fighting with something darker. "Because I am not only theirs." His voice cracked and his eyes flickered between light and shadow. "I remember being human." Dr. Valen's breath caught. "So you are human. At least part of you." The stranger struggled to speak. Half flesh, half machine. A weapon. That broke free. Before anyone could answer, the medical bay shook with a violent crash. The lights flickered. Somewhere down the corridor, explosions roared. The guards aimed their rifles at the door. The stranger's body jerked violently. His back arched and the marks across his skin blazed with light. His voice roared through the room, louder and deeper than before. "They are here." The door burst open. 3 alien figures stormed inside. Their bodies were tall, armored, with insect-like jaws and glowing blades in their hands. Their eyes locked on the man lying on the bed. One of them hissed a word that Ilara did not know, but she understood its meaning. Recognition. They had found what they were searching for. The guards opened fire, bullets slamming into alien armor. Sparks flew. The aliens roared. But even as the guards fought, one alien broke past them, charging straight toward the bed. Ilara screamed. And in that moment, the stranger moved. He rose from the bed in a single fluid motion, faster than any injured man should. His hand shot forward, gripping the alien's throat. The glowing veins in his skin flared brighter, spreading up his arm. With a terrible sound, he lifted the alien off the ground and slammed it against the wall. The guards froze for a second, stunned by the display of raw strength. Ilara could only stare, her mouth open in shock. The stranger turned his head toward her, his eyes blazing. "Run," he growled. But she didn't move. Something in his voice, something human hidden beneath the fury, made her stay. The other aliens hissed and leaped toward him. He met them with impossible speed, tearing the blade from one and driving it through another. His body moved like a weapon, precise and brutal. But every strike left him trembling, as if fighting something inside himself. Ilara saw it, the war not only in the room, but inside his soul. He was not fully theirs, but he was not fully human either, and as the last alien fell, he staggered, blood dripping from his arm. He looked at her, eyes dimming. "They will not stop," he whispered. "This is only the beginning." Then his body collapsed to the floor. The guards stared in silence. The doctor knelt beside him, checking for life signs. He was alive, but barely. Alara looked at the fallen stranger, her heart racing. She understood now. He was not their enemy. He was their only chance. The corridor outside the medical bay burned with smoke and sparks. The alien boarding team had been defeated, their bodies lying twisted and broken. But the silence that followed was not comforting. It was heavy, waiting, as if the station itself feared what would come next. Alara stood with her back against the wall, her hands shaking. She could still see the stranger's glowing veins, the way he had fought like a weapon unleashed. She had never seen such power, terrifying and yet controlled. The guards muttered nervously, reloading their rifles. One whispered, "He killed them like nothing, like he's one of them." Alara turned sharply. "He saved us. Without him, we'd all be dead." The soldier looked away but didn't argue. His eyes, however, held fear. Dr. Valen knelt beside the stranger, who now lay unconscious on the floor. His skin flickered with faint light, glowing lines pulsing like a heartbeat. The doctor touched the man's wrist, feeling his pulse. "He's alive," Valen said quietly. "But his body is fighting itself. Human blood and something else. Something stronger." Alara lowered herself to the ground beside them. She studied the stranger's face. Even in sleep it was tense, as if he was fighting nightmares. "He said he was made," she whispered. "Made for war." Valen nodded grimly. "I believe him. These marks, they are not wounds. They are channels, energy lines. He was built to be a weapon." A deep vibration shook the floor. Dust rained from the ceiling. The comm system blared again. Warning, enemy forces spreading across outer decks. Resistance failing. Multiple casualties reported. The guards exchanged worried looks. The station was losing. Alara's heart pounded. She glanced at the stranger. If he truly was their weapon, could he save them again? Or would he destroy them too? Suddenly his eyes snapped open. He sat up with a sharp gasp, as if dragged out of drowning water. The glowing veins lit brighter, crawling across his arms and chest. He gritted his teeth, clutching his head as if fighting an unseen hand. Alara leaned forward quickly. "Hey, you're safe. Stay calm." But he shook violently. His voice came out like two overlapping sounds, one human, one alien. "No, not safe. Never safe. They call to me. They command me." His words chilled her blood. "Command you." His glowing eyes locked onto hers. "I was theirs, programmed to obey, to kill. But..." He groaned, his body trembling harder. "I broke free. I am trying to choose." The guards raised their rifles again, uncertain. Alara lifted her hands. "Wait. Don't shoot him. He's fighting it." The stranger's face twisted in pain. His skin rippled as if something inside pressed against it, trying to break free. He slammed a hand onto the floor, leaving a glowing burn mark. Alara's voice shook, but she leaned closer anyway. "You're not their slave anymore. You're here. With us. You can fight it." His breathing slowed. For a moment, the light in his veins dimmed. He looked at her, confusion and hope flickering in his strange eyes. Then the station shook violently again. The lights above flickered out for 2 seconds, leaving only the glow of his skin to light the bay. A voice crackled through the comm system. But it was not the station AI. It was deep, alien, cold. The words twisted and sharp. Alara didn't understand the language, but the stranger's eyes widened in terror. "They speak to me," he whispered. "They demand my return." The doctor stepped back. They're broadcasting directly into his mind. The alien voice spoke again, louder this time. The stranger clutched his head, groaning. His body convulsed. His glowing marks blazed with dangerous light. The guards panicked. He's turning. We have to put him down. Ilara threw herself in front of the rifles. No. He's not the enemy. The stranger's roar filled the room, shaking the walls. His body lifted slightly off the floor, energy crackling across his skin. The alien voice echoed through him like a speaker. Return, or all humans die. For a moment, the room was frozen. The stranger's body shook with violent energy, caught between alien control and human will. His glowing eyes looked at Ilara again, filled with desperation. I am not... Theirs, he growled, his voice human again. I am not. With a cry of effort, he slammed his fist into the ground. A shockwave blasted outward, throwing sparks and knocking over equipment. The alien voice vanished. The glow dimmed. He collapsed to the floor, breathing raggedly. I choose. Ilara dropped beside him, grabbing his hand. Choose us, she whispered. Fight with us. His glowing eyes softened, the light fading slightly. I will try. The comm system came alive once more. Outer hull breached. Enemy boarding in Sector 5, they are inside. The guards stiffened. The doctor looked pale. Ilara helped the stranger sit upright, though his body trembled. He looked at her, his expression torn between pain and resolve. If they take me, humanity falls. Do not let them. The medical bay door shook violently as something pounded from the other side. Metal groaned, sparks sprayed from the lock. Ilara's breath caught. They were here. The stranger's eyes blazed once more. He rose to his feet, his voice low but steady. Then let them come. The door split open. Darkness poured into the room. The medical bay door tore open with a deafening screech. Metal bent and shattered, and shadows spilled across the floor. 3 alien warriors stormed in. Their tall frames armored in black plates that shimmered with strange light. Their jaws clicked like blades grinding against stone. Ilara's breath froze in her chest. The guards opened fire, bullets sparking against alien armor. The creatures hissed and advanced, their glowing weapons cutting the air. But the aliens were not looking at the guards. Their eyes locked on the stranger. The half-human, half-weapon. He stood trembling, his body flickering between weakness and impossible strength. The marks on his skin glowed brighter, pulsing like rivers of fire. He growled, clutching his head as if voices screamed inside his skull. Ilara stepped toward him. Fight them. You're not theirs anymore. One alien lunged forward, blade raised. The stranger's eyes snapped open, burning with light. In a blur of motion, he caught the blade in his bare hand. Sparks exploded, the weapon shuddered, and with a roar, he snapped it in half. The alien shrieked, but the stranger was already moving. He struck with inhuman speed, slamming the creature into the wall so hard the metal dented. The guards froze for a heartbeat, stunned. Then they fired at the other 2 invaders, trying to keep them back. Ilara watched, torn between fear and awe. This man, this thing, was fighting not only them but himself. Every strike made him stronger, but every moment the alien side inside him pushed harder to take control. The second alien slashed across his chest, leaving a burning wound. Instead of bleeding, the stranger's skin glowed brighter. He staggered but did not fall. His voice came out as a roar mixed with static, human pain mixed with alien fury. I'm not your slave. With a surge of strength, he drove his fist through the alien's chest. The creature fell limp, sparks dying in its armor. The last alien charged. The stranger met it head-on, his body blazing with light. They crashed together, the impact shaking the bay. But as they struggled, Ilara saw his face twist in agony. His glowing veins flickered uncontrollably, his human side slipping. His voice overlapped again with that alien tone. Kill. All humans. Her blood ran cold. No, he was slipping. He was becoming what they made him to be. Ilara ran forward without thinking. Stop, you're not them. You're human too. Her voice cut through the storm. The stranger froze, trembling. His eyes shifted back, the human glow returning. With a cry, he twisted the alien's blade against its own throat, ending it. The body crumpled to the floor. Silence. Only the sound of Ilara's heavy breathing and the distant alarms filled the air. The stranger stood in the center of the room, his body glowing, his chest heaving. The marks across his skin pulsed like living scars. He turned toward her, his expression torn. They are inside me, he said, voice shaking. Every moment they try to take me back, to make me kill you, to finish their war. Ilara stepped closer, ignoring the guards who shouted for her to stay back. But you didn't, you fought them. You chose us. His eyes softened for a heartbeat. Then he collapsed to his knees, groaning. His hands clawed at the floor. It's not enough. Every battle makes me weaker. Makes them stronger. Dr. Valen rushed to his side, scanning him with a handheld device. His face paled. He's right. His body is rewriting itself. Human and alien cells fighting for control. The more he uses his power, the closer he gets to losing his humanity. Ilara knelt in front of him, her hand gently touching his trembling arm. Then we'll remind you, every time, you're not a weapon, you're not theirs, you're ours. For a moment the stranger's breathing steadied, his eyes still glowing faintly met hers. Something human flickered in them, a memory, a spark of who he once was, but the peace didn't last. The comm system roared. Sector 6 breached. Casualties high. Enemy forces advancing to Central Core. The guards exchanged panicked looks. They're cutting through us. We can't hold them. The stranger forced himself to stand even as his body shook violently. He clenched his fists, glowing veins blazing like fire. I can stop them, he said, his voice half growl, half plea. But if I do, I may never come back. The more I fight, the less of me will remain. Ilara shook her head, tears in her eyes. There has to be another way. The station shook violently, lights flickering. The alien fleet outside was tearing the station apart piece by piece. The stranger looked at her one last time. His eyes burned, but his voice was calm. Don't let them take me alive. Promise me. Ilara's lips trembled. She wanted to say no. She wanted to promise only life. But deep inside, she understood. Slowly, painfully, she nodded. I promise. The stranger smiled faintly like a man clinging to hope. Then his body surged with light once more, and he turned toward the ruined doorway. The sound of marching echoed down the hall. Shadows moved closer, alien voices hissing through the smoke. The stranger stepped forward, each movement heavy with power and pain. His human soul and alien programming clashed inside him like fire and ice. The battle outside was nothing compared to the battle within, and as the enemies drew near, Ilara realized one terrible truth. The war was not only against the aliens. The war was for his very soul. The station groaned under the weight of the attack. Explosions shook the metal walls, and the distant screams of battle carried through the corridors. Ilara stood beside the stranger, as he leaned against the ruined doorway, his glowing veins pulsing like fire trapped beneath his skin. For a long moment, silence hung heavy between them, broken only by the faint hum of the machines. Then Dr. Valen spoke, his voice low but sharp. There's something you need to know, he said. His hands shook as he held a datapad close to his chest. His eyes avoided Ilara's. She frowned. What is it? The doctor looked at the stranger, then back at her. When the patrol brought him here, I didn't just run blood tests. I dug deeper. I hacked into restricted archives. I needed to know what he really was. Ilara's chest tightened. And? Valen's voice cracked with the weight of the words. He was human, once. His name was recorded in old military files. A soldier, captured in the border wars years ago. Presumed dead, her eyes widened. She looked at the stranger who stood silently, his glowing eyes locked on the doctor. His jaw tightened, but he said nothing. The doctor swallowed hard and continued. The aliens didn't kill him. They changed him. They rebuilt him from the inside out. Flesh fused with something alien. A soldier twisted into a weapon. He is their creation, a prototype, designed for one purpose. The stranger's voice cut him off, deep and raw. To destroy you. The words hung in the air like poison. Ilara felt her knees weaken. She looked at him, searching for denial, for some sign that it wasn't true, but his eyes, glowing with pain, gave her none. Her voice trembled. Is it true? Were you meant to kill us? He lowered his head. Yes. The guards stiffened, raising their rifles again. Fear flickered in their eyes. One whispered, He's a bomb waiting to go off. Ilara stepped forward quickly, blocking their aim. No, he's not their slave anymore. He's fighting it. The stranger lifted his head, his voice sharp. But for how long? Every battle tears me apart. Every time I use what they gave me, I feel them inside me, pulling me back. Dr. Valen's face hardened. He is dangerous. More dangerous than the fleet outside. If they retake control, he could wipe out this entire station in seconds. Ilara shook her head furiously. He's human too. I've seen it. He warned us. He saved us. She turned to the stranger, her eyes desperate. You're not their weapon. You're more than what they made you. The stranger stared at her, his glowing eyes flickering between light and shadow. He whispered almost like a confession, "But what if I'm not enough? What if the human part of me is already gone?" The comm system suddenly came alive with a new voice, cold, alien, commanding. It echoed not only through the speakers but inside the stranger's head. "Return what belongs to us. Surrender the prototype. Resist and humanity dies." The stranger's body stiffened, his marks blazing brighter. His head tilted back as if invisible chains pulled at him. His voice split into two again, human and alien clashing. Alara grabbed his arm. "Stay with me. You're not theirs. You can choose." His hands shook violently, but slowly his eyes locked on hers. For one long second the glow dimmed. His voice returned, ragged but human. "I want to believe that," the doctor's voice cut sharply. "He's a weapon. If they take him, it's over. We cannot let that happen. Not alive." The guards hesitated, their fingers trembling on the triggers. Alara turned on them, her voice fierce. "If you kill him, you kill the only chance we have. Look around you. We're losing this battle. The station won't hold. And you think we can win without him?" Her words cut through the fear. The guards lowered their rifles slightly but did not relax. The stranger stepped forward, his voice steady now, though pain lingered in every word. "I am both. Human and alien. Flesh and machine. Their weapon. And your soldier. I am caught between worlds." He clenched his fists and the glow surged again. His voice deepened, carrying a weight that filled the room. "But I can be one thing. I can be your weapon. Not theirs." The doctor shook his head in disbelief. "If you embrace what they made you, you may lose yourself entirely." The stranger looked at him coldly. "Then better to lose myself fighting for humans than live forever as their slave." The station shuddered again as another explosion rocked the outer hull. Warning lights flashed and the AI's voice declared, "Central core under attack. Shield systems failing." The alien voice returned, colder than before. "Last chance. Give him back or you all die." The stranger straightened, his body glowing like molten steel, his human features twisted with determination. He turned to Alara. "Tell me, nurse, do I fight as a man, or as the monster they made me?" Alara's throat tightened, but she spoke without hesitation.
"Fight as both."
"Because maybe that's what makes you stronger than them. You are not just a weapon. You are proof that even what they made can choose humanity." For the first time the stranger smiled, a small, broken smile, but human. He nodded once. "Then I will fight." The comm system filled with static. The alien commander's voice roared with rage. "Then you die with them." The stranger stepped forward, energy blazing around him like fire. The walls shook from the force and Alara knew the final battle was coming. Not just for the station, not just for humanity, but for the soul of the man who was never meant to survive. The station groaned like a wounded beast. Metal screamed as explosions tore through the outer hull. The floor shook beneath Alara's feet and sparks rained from the ceiling. Somewhere far away she heard the desperate voices of soldiers fighting a war they were losing. And in the middle of the chaos, the stranger stood. His body glowed brighter than ever, lines of fire burning across his skin. His eyes were twin embers, alive with fury and something deeper, choice. He was no longer only a prisoner of war or an alien weapon. He was both. And now he had chosen his side. Alara's heart raced as she stepped closer to him. "You don't have to do this alone." He looked at her, his strange glow reflecting in her eyes. His voice came deep, steady, carrying the weight of two worlds. "But I was made to stand alone." Before she could answer, the walls shook again. The medical bay doors burst open and a flood of alien soldiers stormed inside. Their weapons hissed, glowing blades ready. Their jaws clicked with hunger and command. The guards fired desperately, but the aliens were too many. The stranger moved. With a roar that shook the air, he leaped into the enemy. His body became a storm of light and fury. Every strike was fast, brutal, and final. His fists glowed as he smashed through armor. His veins blazed as energy crackled out, sending aliens crashing into walls. Alara watched, her breath stolen away. He was terrifying, beautiful. A weapon unleashed, but not theirs. The aliens fought with savage precision, but he was more. He was stronger than them because he was not just alien design. He was human will forged inside a machine body, and will was something they could not program. Yet even as he tore through the invaders, Alara saw the cost. His face twisted in pain. His body flickered like two forces inside him fought for control. With every attack, his human side dimmed a little more. Dr. Valen shouted, "He can't hold it! He's burning himself alive!" Alara's chest tightened. She stepped forward, shouting above the chaos. "Remember who you are. You're not their slave. You're not just their weapon, you are our soldier." The stranger froze for a second, her words cutting through the storm. An alien blade slashed across his side, but he didn't fall. Instead, he turned with fury, ripping the weapon free and driving it through the attacker's chest. His voice roared through the bay, filled with human strength. "I am human!" The aliens hesitated, fear flickering in their dark eyes. For the first time, they saw not a weapon they created, but something greater. The stranger seized the moment. Energy surged through his veins like molten fire. He unleashed it all in a single strike, slamming his fist into the floor. A shockwave erupted. Light exploded outward, sweeping across the bay. The aliens screamed as their armor shattered, their bodies thrown back. The walls cracked, sparks rained, and silence fell. When the light faded, the floor was littered with broken alien bodies. Smoke curled from the walls. The guards stood frozen, staring in disbelief. The stranger knelt in the center, his body trembling, the glow fading from his skin. His breaths came ragged, each one a struggle. Alara rushed to him, dropping to her knees. She grabbed his shoulders. "Stay with me. You did it. You saved us." He looked at her with dimming eyes. "Not yet." Their ship, the commander, still above. As if on cue, the comm system came alive with the alien voice, colder than ever. "You think this victory matters? We will burn your world. We will erase your kind, and the weapon will return to us." The stranger's jaw tightened. He forced himself to stand, though his legs shook. "No, you will not take me. Not again." He turned to Alara, his face softening for the first time. "Thank you for reminding me what I was, what I can be." Tears filled her eyes. "Don't leave me." He smiled faintly, broken but human. "I was never meant to stay." Before she could speak, he staggered to the console. His glowing veins flared one final time as he interfaced with the station systems. Sparks shot from the panels. The doctor shouted in alarm. "What are you doing?" Phelan cried. The stranger's voice came steady, resolute. "Their flagship controls the fleet. If I overload my core, if I release everything they built inside me, it will end them. But it will end me too." Alara grabbed his arm, shaking her head violently. "No, there has to be another way." He touched her hand gently. "Sometimes the only way to win is to give everything." The station shook violently as the alien flagship charged weapons. Time was running out. The stranger closed his eyes, his body blazing brighter than ever. His voice echoed strong and final. "I choose humanity." Light erupted from him like a star. It tore through the bay, surged into the station's systems, and burst outward into space. Through the viewports, Alara saw it, the beam of impossible energy lancing across the void, striking the alien flagship. For a heartbeat, the universe was silent. Then the ship exploded, a sun of fire ripping through the enemy fleet. The aliens broke, scattering into the dark. Humanity's station still stood, but the stranger was gone. Alara fell to the floor, tears streaking her face. The guards and the doctor stood in stunned silence. In the silence that followed, Alara whispered through her sobs, "You weren't their weapon. You were ours." The hum of the station filled the empty bay. The glow had faded. But his choice, his sacrifice, burned brighter than any star. And humanity would never forget the man who had once been a weapon, but died a soldier.